And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. Joined again with Shawn from Orbisec CRM, as well as Marshall Hill from the Pints and Polishing Podcast, the Off the Clock Show, and Car Guy for Clean Car Care Products.
I messed you up, man. My bad.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, the rhythm. But I know you're taken back by that. Like Shawn is in
I was watching earlier outtakes of Will Smith from him at Saturday Night Live. And it
Oh,
was
shoot.
it was when he broke people and like people couldn't stop laughing around
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Gee,
oh, it was the best. Like it was really
man. That's amazing. You know, that's an amazing thing about SNL though. That
yeah.
like this new generation, like my kids, they were like, "What? What's SNL?" And so I showed them a couple episodes and stuff, but to them, it just didn't hit the same kind of thing. I mean, they're young still,
I
but
don't think it's been the same since what? Like since probably the Will Smith, I'm sorry, Will Smith.
yeah, yeah,
Will Ferrell there. Like those were
yeah.
probably some of the last
Oh, there
I
was
don't
some
I haven't seen funny in a while, right? Like,
true, man. That makes me think though. The Will Ferrell one. Did you ever see the one with the cowbell? Yeah,
oh,
it's
absolutely. It was
good.
in
It's
there.
good, but you
Just
know what?
need more
More
cowbell.
cowbell.
Yeah.
Jesus. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Oh man. Yeah, those are good times, man. That's yeah, but it's funny. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch. Like I remember some, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the Will
Yeah, he
Smith.
was funny.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people know him just from the movies, especially the recent movies,
Mhm.
and so they wouldn't know as much of that comedic side of him. I feel,
Just
like
raw,
the newer,
like
younger
stand up
generation.
raw, like
Yeah.
such a gift.
Yeah, yeah, it truly is, man. That's right.
And
Actually,
and it was not just stand up raw, right? It's what's their actual form of comedy? Um, it's an actual name, right? Like it's a style of comedy. So
yeah, it is. Yeah,
improv.
improv. Yep, exactly. Where it comes off the cuff, like same thing those guys did from the Drew Carey show. I don't remember what
Hmm.
the other show was called, but
Yeah, that
something it
was
was
funny.
live. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they had special guests that would throw like a
Hmm.
scene, and they're doing stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
those guys were good.
yeah. Because man, you got to be like quick with it. Like that's where you really see the skill. Because
Hmm.
anyone could spend hours. Well, maybe not anyone, but a lot of people could spend hours crafting a joke, writing a joke, then saying it in front of a crowd. But off the cuff, man, that's where you see like those guys. They're just born with it.
You seen any good movies lately though? I've been trying to catch up. People in my house weren't familiar with Deadpool, so I have
Okay.
gotten them caught up. I'm ready this weekend. I really think I want to do this weekend. Watch Wolverine and
Yeah, yeah. I've heard mixed reviews about it. And so I'm not sure. I haven't seen it yet. I was about to. And then people gave me some, I would say 2-star reviews, if we put it that way. But yeah, I heard mixed reviews and I'm kind of nervous for it to, not that it'll like ruin the trilogy or whatever. You know what I mean? It's different, but I'm still gonna watch it probably. But I'll
yeah.
just, yeah, maybe I'll wait. I don't know. It's
Why were there mixed reviews? People, I mean, I'd say there's mixed reviews about every movie.
Yeah, that's true. But okay, maybe it wasn't so much mixed because that implies that it was like there was some good and some
It
bad. It
was
was
just
mostly
bad
bad. It was
reviews,
mostly bad
mostly
reviews.
bad. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was but for different reasons. And I kind of have to take a look at the people that were giving the recommendations because like one of them, one of my wife's cousins, and she recommended a movie to us. And she was like, "Oh, you guys like to watch scary movies sometimes?" As well, sometimes my daughter loves them, so that's what my thing that I do with her. And she recommended this movie. I think it was called Men or something like that. It was terrible. It like not even half a star. It was absolutely horrible. And the worst part is I had to buy it. Like it was like $19 or something. And I was like, okay, this better be good. Like she said, it's good. It was horrible. So anyway, no, I haven't seen any good recommended movies. I do want to see the Wolverine, the new Deadpool one, but I did watch Jackpot. I don't know if you heard of
Hmm.
that one. John Cena. He's good
Oh
in
yeah,
certain roles, yeah, but it was
yeah.
the concept for me. So I like movies that it's got a concept that's just new.
Right.
It's not the same old, same old. And so they have a government, California, they need money. They said it was like year 2030. So it's like sort of close. But anyway, they said if you win the lottery, everyone else has until dawn to murder you with no consequences, and then they become the winner of your jackpot. So then you have to basically stay alive. And so everyone has these cards and they see who the winner is and they're tracking you with a drone and you have to escape. But that scenario now created these other industries where there's lottery protection agencies. So they have like rubber bullets and stuff like that because they're not allowed to kill, but they'll keep you alive until dawn for 30% or something like that, right? And so it was a pretty good movie. Like if you're not looking for anything that's gonna make you think too much. It's not it's kind of a like a Happy Gilmore type of like you just put it on, you laugh, and you just go on with your life. It was good. It was decent to be honest. The action scenes, there was some good comedy in it. But for me, it was the concept too. And I always think about life like that. How many things get created or
Mm.
changed or something, and then all of a sudden, boom, whole new industries there. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is cool. People are always looking for ways to, oh, I have to be an inventor. You have to make something that's completely unique. And it's like, or you wait for something to be developed, and then you just piggyback off of that and find things that can support that industry, right? And so, for me, I don't know. That's why I like the movie. It was good.
Is that like us on cars? Like we
Yeah,
piggyback the car industry, right?
piggyback off the car
We
industry
created the
hard.
cars.
Big time, yeah, and that's true for everything. The guys that made boats, I mean, boats have been around obviously a lot longer than cars and planes, but the guys that made, the Wright brothers, taking flight, what planes have become now, planes have to get detailed, even Industrial Revolution, tractors. Like there's guys in the group, all they do is detail tractors and tint tractor windows. You got a farmer working out in the field. He's gonna want some protection for his skin and stuff. He's sitting there and he's basically just in a terrarium, you know what I mean? And he's like, geez, it'd be nice if I wasn't getting skin cancer and stuff like that. So like there's all these industries that just exist because of something else, and but yeah, car industry, 100%. That's where would we be? If they found another form of transportation, what
It's
happens to, you know?
interesting. Agriculture is becoming more into our world, right? Because I
Mm,
haven't heard that, but that makes complete sense, right? Like
yeah,
tinting their windows,
yep.
like yeah. How was that not done before? And you can just sit there and imagine, like you
Yeah,
watch those guys or see them, and I've talked to a couple of them. They say it's real nice inside. It's
yeah.
air conditioned, or they got
Oh
music,
yeah,
and half
yeah,
the stuff runs on GPS. They don't really deal with stuff anymore. They're just kind of
exactly.
along for the ride. But I didn't think about the skin cancer and all the other stuff. Like it does make
Yeah.
sense about getting those tinted. My brother-in-law got a new truck and he was raving to me about he got his windshield tinted. And now he doesn't need sunglasses.
Okay.
So
Nice. There you
makes sense, makes
Yeah.
sense.
You
Then,
just hop
those
in.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is that the same guy, well, there's one in particular I'm thinking of. He did it really smart, I think. Gets his way in with the tint for the tractors, but then he also details and protects ATVs, which is pretty genius because a lot of
Mhm,
those farmers, they don't just have tractors. They've got
mhm,
ATVs,
mhm,
they've also got trucks. So he
mhm,
takes care of the trucks, everything. So he
mhm.
lives in a rural area and he just goes around all the different farms. He
Absolutely.
does maintenance stuff for
And
life.
the other part of is the coatings, right? Like the
Yeah.
tint is one aspect, and then I'm very surprised how many people coat track like
Yeah.
that really has blown me away.
Yeah. It's amazing. Even like the tractor trailers, everything, you name it. Like it's big. Like yeah, it's interesting for me because I get a lot of stat side of things, even if it's just through people I talk to, I ask them questions about their
Mhm,
business. So I get a cool side of it where I can see clusters and I can see like, oh wow, in this area, there's a lot of people that they do a lot of just boats, nothing else but just boats. Then you get some guys that do a mix of both, and then you get
mhm,
guys that he's like, oh yeah, I live near 3 airstrips. All I do is planes. He's like, that's it. I'm the plane guy. And I was like, what about helicopters? He's like, nah, too much time. I was like, too much time? What are you talking about? He's like, no, dealing with the helicopter pilots. I was like, what?
mhm,
And so it's all these weird little things. He was like, yeah, they just love to tell you all kind of stories about this and that and everything that happened. So the guy with the plane, he's just like, just take care of it. We'll see you later. He said, half the time they're not even there. So it's interesting just seeing all these different things that I wouldn't have had insight into without Orbis X, unless I just spent my days calling shops for some reason. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's interesting. You can learn a
mhm,
lot. Like I tell you, I've learned a lot through talking with members about how to improve my own business, almost as much as I've given them, they've given me, kind of thing, which is pretty amazing. So, like 'cause where our shop is, we're close to a rural area, even though we're in the city. we're near all the dealerships, but then just on the other side of that is this thing we call the green belt. And right behind that, they have experimental farms, they have actual farms, different stuff. And I saw you get hung up on the experimental. So our government here has an area that they gifted to the Queen of England because we're technically a colony of Britain. Still, that's why we still, when you become a Canadian, you pledge allegiance to the Queen and, well, now the King and all that stuff. But we gifted her this green space, so you're not allowed to build there, but the government is allowed to use the land. And so what they do with it is experiments. So they take two different types of corn, grow them together. They'll maybe mix some seeds with, I don't know, a birch tree and see, oh, birch trees grow really fast, or they do this and that, and they'll see how the seeds perform. And they're doing some wild stuff there. You're not supposed to film, and you're not allowed over the fence. That's that's what the sign says. So yeah, there are some areas with walking paths, but yeah, and it's called the experimental farm. So
What about drones?
that's a good question, and it's one I've been wondering. I'm learning how to
There's
fly
no
my
sign that says no drones.
Yeah, no drones, exactly, which is probably the case. Well, especially we're a government town, and I think there's like 200 embassies here or something like that. And so there's a lot of places you just can't film. Like you can't, mostly downtown, but like you can film if you're on certain streets, of course. But there's a lot of buildings where, depending on the embassy, like, you get in some serious shit if you do some filming there. What are you, what are you trying to figure? I'm not filming there. I'm just saying.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I literally took a moment as an American.
Ah, damn. Yeah. You guys can just film?
Oh, fuck, like,
Oh, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I
any
was like,
place we want to film.
what? That's great.
Freedom.
Oh,
That's
no, not here.
freedom, right? Like that's
Yeah.
like you're right. You saw it on my face, and I just went.
Yeah. No,
Like
not
we
here.
as Americans wouldn't. I joke with you a lot about, but there is. I mean, we are a different country. Like
Yeah,
it is
100%.
like as
Yeah.
many people as we like and can, like it is different. Like, and I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Maple syrup is like
We have
the
to
thing.
protect the recipe.
I get it.
It's the thing.
But I never would have thought like it just wait, you can go to a city and you're told you can't like
Oh, yeah.
no
Oh,
way. No way
they'll
that
have,
doesn't happen here. Uh-uh.
yeah,
And even if there's a sign,
yeah.
mm-mm,
Yeah, they're like,
mm-mm,
no, that's it. Because
let
you can put
me
up any sign you want. It doesn't
yeah.
mean it's legal. You know what I mean? You could say like, don't do this, don't do that, but you're infringing on my rights. I see all those videos all the time where people, they get pulled over by cops or stopped by a security guard. Yeah, for you guys, it's a lot different than here. Here it's
I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you, I know this is definitely gonna be a characterization,
all right.
right?
All right.
The reason why that would never happen here, you got a couple people in America.
Mm.
Let's just call one Billy Bob.
Mhm.
We can all understand who Billy Bob is. Billy
Yeah,
Bob's from Louisiana. He's from Texas. Actually, a great movie back in the day, Friday Night Lights, had a guy named Billy Bob,
it's true.
the big fat lineman.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So, Billy Bob. We can all get Billy Bob. Billy Bob ain't doing that. Billy
Yeah,
Bob
yeah.
wants to pull out his phone. Billy Bob's pulling out his phone. If you want to deal with it, you can talk to the shotgun that
Yeah.
used to be. This is back in the day. Billy
In the
Bob would have
back of
had a
the
shotgun
Yep.
in his truck hanging over his head. You
Yeah.
go, what the? Yes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Billy Bob had literally would drive around in his town in
Yeah.
his truck with
A
his shotgun.
loaded shotgun. Not just shotgun, loaded shotgun. Yeah. Yeah,
There's
there's
Billy
no
Bob,
way that's
right?
happening here.
Billy
Yeah, yeah.
Bob's one. We can all understand Billy Bob. The second one, this is just characterization, but we can all understand this one too. I'm going to go, this is Shaniqua.
All right.
Shaniqua just got back. She got her hair done.
Mhm.
Her nails are about 2 inches long, bright pink. And she's probably wearing some type of workout outfit and rolling around every day, everything about what she's doing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's going to mouth at everybody. And if it's in the line, it doesn't matter. Shaniqua would never let
She's
you
filming.
tell her that she cannot have her phone out recording something.
Yeah, yeah.
Billy Bob and Shaniqua. That's all I got to say.
They're protecting freedoms, you know, freedoms that we've just, given up here. It's crazy.
Don't make me go to the Guidos up in the north. Let's stop
Yeah.
there. Let's stop there.
I'll stop there. We can keep going. Pick a state. Jeez, but no, there is something to be said about that though, where the land of opportunity, the land of the free, like that's why everybody wants to go to America though. It's those, and that's
Don't
where
think about it until that, right?
yeah, but that's where, like I mentioned this actually our last episode. I said, we are doing exceptionally well with our shop here, but I am at times envious of some of the states that we could have, opened up in. And it would just, and like when I hear people saying like, oh, I'm having a tough time making it, I'm like, are you kidding me? For you guys, it's like fishing with dynamite. Like, I don't know how, like, how could you not bring home some fish? It doesn't make sense to me because the challenges we have here are often a lot more severe in certain cases, like even like the building we're in, there was a car show that we had, and we had people filming outside and stuff like that. And one of the neighbors came over with the bylaw officers, and we were told we weren't allowed to film one side of the building where cars were and stuff like that. We had to basically relocate the cars because we ended up filming something that was happening on the other side of it. And it's like those kinds of things. Like obviously that wouldn't happen in the majority of the United States, but it's just little things like that where it's like, Jesus, man. So then when our event gets all kind of, discombobulated, we got to move all these cars over here, relocate people, and it's a pain in the ass. That's a minor example, but I'm just saying there's things in place that make things a little more difficult here when running a business. Not overly, but mostly our taxation system, I'd say, that's the one that really gets you.
And I want to go ahead and say this. If people go, hey, listen, my Billy Bob and Shaniqua was a little too character like, hey,
Mm,
maybe you shouldn't say that. I get it.
mm,
I also am in Oklahoma. We're different
mm.
than massively other parts of the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me share to you what happened to me today going into well, I guess it's technically not a government agency, but most of us think that the United Postal Service, right?
Yeah.
United States Postal Service is a government agency. Well, there's no way that this government worker would have been able to say what they said to somebody in line. Right? I'm there at the USPS having to send something off for taxes, and I'm sitting there filling out my, thing. Here's the bullshit, right? They
Yeah.
didn't have any envelopes. They didn't have
Ah,
envelopes. So I said, hey, you were out of envelopes over there. I need to mail this. It's just going to Oklahoma City. Oh, here's you want to use this one? This will take this and it's $9. Huh? Like a stamp's like something 40 something. What?
yeah. Where the nine come from?
Fuck? What? You don't have this is my option? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only option. That's
Okay, I got to get my taxes off. So at that point, I don't care about, right?
Mm.
Like,
It's like, all right,
whatever.
fine, $9.
Here's $9. And I'm filling out my stuff. And this guy walks up behind me and
Yeah.
he says, Hablas Espanol?
Mm,
She says, yeah, see. So he starts talking.
yeah.
Well, I'm not sure that. She responds back in something, I'm not trying to pay attention, some type of Spanish,
Mm,
something.
yeah.
Well, he's just something, then he says something again. And she goes and goes like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I, I'll have to do one of these. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
the hell just happened? I look up, she goes, he thinks I speak Spanish. I'm like, what? Like, the dude has a problem. He's needing help.
Jesus Christ.
And she's mocking him
That's
in like some
insane.
like I told her I go, I don't know what you're speaking. I thought it sounded like a Hindu, India something
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah.
So she starts like blah, 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 and I was like,
Oh my God.
I look over there, I go, hey, no hablo mucho. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like
Pero
I
entiendo
study
poco.
school, okay? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
que tú necesitas? Like,
Yeah, there you go.
I
Muy
mean,
bien.
like, I don't just bait like, and he starts saying, like, hey man, like,
Right.
slow, like,
Muy
slow
lento.
down, man. Like, comes out, he needs a receipt. I get
Oh
there that
man.
from what he's saying. So I'm just like, he needs a receipt,
Yeah.
like tracking number. Okay, you need to like,
Yeah, yeah. That's
what
crazy.
just
She
happened
just
here?
openly just like, holy sh.
Box the guy. And I'm like, it's 2024.
Yeah, that's
But if anybody
crazy.
thinks that I'm got a bit of non what I think people in today's world was it, there's some word you're like supposed to be like, oh, politically correct.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. PC. Yeah,
From Oklahoma.
yeah,
This is where they sent the Indians.
yeah.
That's all
It's,
I gotta say.
it's not like fair, but man, that is wild though. But hold on, because USPIS, I'm pretty sure USPS isn't it a federal agency? I thought it was.
I don't know. I did that's like this is where people are gonna have to
Okay,
I
yeah.
think if you look into it all the way, it's not a government agency. I don't
Ah,
think so. I still think it's a private owned. It's
okay.
some,
They just
but I could
present
be
as if
wrong.
they,
Somebody be
yeah.
like, dude, you're completely fucked.
Yeah, who knows? But the only reason I'm thinking so is from that TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They had an episode where they had to work alongside. They were looking for someone that was using like old postal boxes to like smuggle drugs or something. So I had to work with USPS, and they were saying, "Hey, show me some
They're,
respect. We're a federal agency, you know?" And I was like, "Shit."
okay, maybe a federal agency, but it's not the government,
Ah,
right? So there
okay.
might be a tie in where there's
Because
maybe there's
it's
I don't know
postal service. Yeah, who knows? But
something, but it's not
yeah.
they're not the government. And
Well, let
this
me ask you a
lady,
question
and
though.
I'm just like,
But
the
is it
hell is
not a
going
requirement? Because
on?
you guys have two official languages, right? English and Spanish? Or is
No,
it no? Oh
one
shit.
official language,
Just one. And then the other
English.
one's kind of semi-official. Oh shit. Okay. Because here, to work in the government, you have to be bilingual. You have to speak English and French.
Well, I was pumped. Like I said, she said something
Yeah, yeah.
enough to where I'm writing, and I was like, well,
And you thought
goddamn,
it was like,
nicely
oh,
done. And then she goes in this like Hindu dialect,
Jesus. Yeah,
something
you're like,
like
wait a minute.
Habib, like
Holy shit. That's crazy. Yeah, that's and the guy just he's just asking questions. He just
he
needs
just
help.
needed help.
Yeah.
He just needed help.
Jesus. That's crazy, man. Wow. I see. I'm sure, like, first off, like, why? You know, but anyway, without getting into all that,
No, that's just like
it's
you'll never. Okay, so and I can move into my tip if you want to, and I could almost in a sense back it off of this. When somebody, they're somebody, and that's who they are.
that's true.
The only idea that you can actually change somebody is religion.
Mm,
Religion believes that you can change someone. If
mm,
you change them in their mind and make them feel bad about the habits that they do, or reward them like a dog when they go pee in the yard instead of on the carpet, you give them something, right?
yeah.
There's there's something about can you change somebody?
Mm,
Is somebody changeable? There's just people here. I've always said I don't belong here.
mm,
People look at me and say, you don't sound like you're from Oklahoma. You don't dress like you're from Oklahoma. I'm always somebody that feels like I should be somebody else, somewhere else.
okay.
And so I always look around at everybody and go, you'll always be this type, right? Somebody from Oklahoma who is, grown up around, the outskirts of town. I had a guy that was dropping off stuff today that goes, man, I don't know how you all drive here. What? It's pretty easy. You go from south to north, and every mile is 101st, 91st, 81st, like, and then you go
Just
this way, it's
forward. Yeah.
words. Like, what do you mean? It's actually pretty simple grid system. I'm pretty
Yeah.
lucky here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very lucky.
It's true.
Right. But I couldn't change. I told him, I go, hey man, go to Tampa.
Yeah.
Go to fucking Orlando. Try and drive there. Like, you
Well,
joking? Like, I'll never be able to change the way he thinks, right? There's
yeah.
people that you just go, they'll never, ever change out of the way their mind thinks,
Yeah.
the way they are. It's just who they are. Like I said, religion's about the only organization or theory, I guess psychology too, but I would say that would venture into some worlds of religion.
Yeah.
The only people that think that somebody can change if you're trying to deal with their mind.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's never going to happen. Case in point,
Yeah.
100% case in point, you told me about stuff you're seeing in groups.
Yeah.
Stuff that we see in groups, it doesn't matter whether it's good economy or bad economy. Right now, people in groups are going, how do I cut soap?
Mhm.
How do I dilute?
Jeez.
Right? Because those people are trying to, right? What an email that I'll talk about here in a second, the final follow-up email. Let me make sure I quote it completely correct so that I don't butcher it. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Jumping over dollars to save nickels. I apologize. All right, I had a conversation with a guy who was trying to do the same thing. And listen, if you want to get a soap, a degreaser, an interior cleaner that for really a good quality product at probably the best cost per ounce that you can get, we've got an ultra concentrate line. It was actually one way I launched into the business back 2017, 18, into the national realm of it, was we took the water out of the formula and we shipped these products in bags, right?
Yeah.
The reason was is we were reducing plastic and reducing cost. I could ship 5 gallons of product, and at that point in time, I was shipping it for $25. Free shipping.
Jeez. That's
You,
crazy.
you could go onto the site and buy 5 gallons of interior cleaner that was concentrated, degreaser that's concentrated, and car soap that's concentrated for $25. Now I think it's like closer to 50, right? I think it's like 49 or 50
Yeah.
bucks, right? Still a great deal.
Yeah.
Awesome deal.
And it makes sense though. Then you add your water.
You add your own water,
And
you
you're
fill
good
it
to go.
into a cube, and
Yeah.
you've got a concentrated product. Well, I had a guy that grabbed the soap and then he wanted to do what everybody else does in quote unquote detailing. And so I want to make sure we understand when I talk about who you are, what you believe, how you think, will you ever change? Don't know. Specifically, it talks about this soap and these degreaser and this interior cleaner, these ultra concentrates of being for people that are wholesale and dealership. That's who we designed them mostly for, because when I came out with them, that was the main majority of my business. I was still a distributor for a national brand. And then I created my own stuff and was selling it then nationally. And eventually I stopped doing distribution and just did all national, right? All my own. I stopped selling other people's stuff. Well, at that time, in order to ship 5 gallons of chemical, what?
Yeah.
No way. And
Yeah.
even now, go look
It's-
up 5 gallons of car soap. It's going to cost you 150, 200 bucks to get it to your door.
And now
Right. So,
you're paying to
so
ship water. That's what's happening. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what's happening. Well, the product was made for wholesalers and also, for dealerships, because that's who uses 5 gallons.
Mhm.
The average mobile detailer, the average detail shop owner, the average person that cleans their own car, I would say most, not even just the average, 95% would probably be even a really close one, don't use 5 gallons. They don't. Because if you're detailing, you should be detailed. If you're a wholesaler and you're a dealership, that should be your world. The two worlds should never mix. And that's why I had to eventually explain to the guy through multiple emails. Hey, man, if you want to go into wholesale or dealer work,
Yeah.
you're right. You don't put just 2 ounces of soap, right? You actually fill it up. Like I said, you use the knob on top to control your dilution and you go.
Mhm.
They're not concerned with, hold on a second. One moment.
One
Hold
moment.
on.
All
Hold
right.
on. It's not quite 2 ounces yet. I can't pour fast. I've got to pour very slow. I
There
cannot
you
get it
go.
over 2 ounces. Hold on. Just once more sec. Hold on. Now.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me go pour it in exactly to my foam cannon. Shit doesn't happen.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't, you'll never change. Okay. People won't change. You got to understand that you have a thought process and the way you think about things, you won't change and you shouldn't change. This guy emailed, he shouldn't change his thought process. It will never change. He needs to change his work,
Mm.
right? There, you, you remember in sales, I remember specifically in sales, if you ever take any sales training, sales classes, there's a differentiator that they're going to tell you. Hey, understand, are you selling a tangible product or are you selling an idea? Completely different
Really
worlds.
different. Yeah.
You cannot go into the idea world and try and sell like somebody from the
The product.
tangible world.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me, the background that I had in the spirit world, to then come into financial world and
Yeah.
sell a product. It's massively different.
It's true.
And it's incredibly hard for somebody to change. So if you are not going to be somebody that if you're detailing cars for a customer, there's a cost calculator on Orbis X.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a waste of your time.
Truly is.
If
With
you're going to go into wholesale and dealership work, who every detailer on social media wants to bash and complain about, then you should you should go out and do it that way.
mm,
Because what I told to this guy, I said, no, man, those guys don't really think anything about measuring anything out, because they're going to fill up the foam cannon, they're going to use the knob, and that's how they're going to dilute it. He's like, well, the cost of doing it that way, I would only get so many foam cannons out of it. And I go, dude,
okay.
ain't spraying foam.
Yeah, yeah. We're not doing this for the gram.
You're not going to change your thought process. Like,
Yeah.
go into a different, like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. A wholesale guy isn't going to spend money. A detailer needs to spend money on his chemicals. That's why you're a detailer.
Yeah.
You have to be concerned about what you put on your customers' cars. You have to put quality stuff. They're paying you thousands and thousands of dollars,
And
or
you
a
gotta put
hundred
the right
bucks. Who the
amount.
fuck cares? It's
Yeah,
a
you gotta
hundred
put the right amount.
dollars.
Yeah. Like,
Put
what's
good stuff and plenty of product on their car, or go into the wholesale world. They don't put foam on cars. They
yeah,
wash them and get the cars done and dried. They don't
true.
care.
Yeah.
If you care about how little you're going to spend on product, you are in the wrong part of the business.
Yeah.
Stop being a detailer and go to wholesale work. If you don't care about what you spend, because Shawn, Is it the biggest cost?
No,
Is
not at
chemicals?
all. Not at all.
You waste more time
Yeah.
trying to measure out than getting something good of quality, like I'm just going to say foam wash. Not going to mar the paint. You're going to get good dilution ratios on it, and it's got a good price. I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell?
It's gonna make your job easier too, and it's gonna make the final results better. So I mean,
Most of the products on the market that you're so concerned about high dilution ratios, they're going to have solvents, they're going to have other things in it that is harsh on the paint.
mhm,
Wholesale work. Do
yeah,
you want quality, good stuff that's great for your cars and your customer cars? That's detail products. That's detail work.
yeah, and we really are talking pennies. We really are. If you break it down to a per vehicle basis, per customer basis, it's nothing. And you're far better off to use the right stuff. And so we're a good example of this because we do both segments. So we have retail work, but then we do a lot of wholesale high volume stuff as well with dealerships. But we have two bays that we separate this out for. One's got a mixing station, and that's where we have our 5 gal drums, and it just hooks up a hose. We don't pay attention to what comes in and out of that thing as much as the other side of things, where every night at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, what our guys do is they go through as they're shutting down, they're sweeping things or this, that, they're refilling bottles, they're filling everything up. But we do it quickly. You just kind of ballpark it. You're like, okay, yeah, that goes in there, boom, mix it, done. We're not sitting there like, okay, how many capfuls, how many this, fuck that noise. No, no, no. We just pump it out because we're not so concerned because it's kind of a recommended level in a way. And it's like, yeah, if we end up putting 2.5 ounces, we were supposed to put two. Okay, next, keep it going. Yeah, is it going to empty that bottle faster? Sure. You should be fully stocked up and prepared for this. But really, we're talking about peanuts in comparison to what we're charging for the work that we're doing. And
Exactly.
the reason we cut back in a way on the dealership side, we cut back on a lot of things. There's a lot of corners cut on the dealership side because they don't need it. We're talking about, you know, vehicle just came in from auction, they need it just tidied up a bit and then sent over to them, boom, that's done. Or they'll send it to us for a tint and we just do that as a free service, a mini detail for them, keeps the dealership happy, boom, get it out the door. These are in between, they've had a bunch of test drives and it's winter time and people's boots and stuff have been in the car and everything. These are the kind of jobs we're seeing from dealerships. We're not trying to make them showroom ready if they're used cars. Sure, if we have some dealerships that, there's one we work with, Tubman's, they've got a lot of, they primarily sell Corvettes. They send us work. Those are a little different. When we're dealing with certain cars or we talk to the dealership, whatever the deal is, we'll separate those ones out. But most of the guys we're working with, like the used car lots, stuff like that, they're dropping off 5 cars a day, 6 cars a day, stuff like that, and they want them back in an hour, 2 hours. That's what they want. They don't care if there's pictures taken or what it looks like at the end. The customer's just going to buy the car. It's getting a full proper clean at the end, anyways. But when it's our retail work, that's a lot different. And this leads me into my tip today because what we try and avoid at our shop are comebacks. I know a
Mm.
lot of guys.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Yeah, thank you. It's a big one I've been seeing where people don't even realize what they're talking about. They will post things like, "Can you believe this customer? I spent 2.5 hours on his car. Look, he's complaining because he found this and found that and this and that." And they're genuinely upset and they don't even realize what they're dealing with. And so what you're dealing with is it's called a comeback, and that's from the dealership world. And that's what they call them. They have comebacks, they have scorecards, they put that on the RO, and that's what it's called. And your goal is to reduce the number of comebacks that you have. But the problem is when people deal with work that comes back, usually it's taken personally, as if the customer's done something wrong by not appreciating all the other stuff you did. And really what it is they have a complaint about something. They were expecting something, whether that was miscommunication with expectations or something was overlooked or whatever the case may be. But a lot of people go into this defense mode instantly. And it's now a customer versus them scenario. And that's what I see in the groups is where people will post things like I said, where can you believe this customer said that? Or I had this guy come back, left me a 2-star review. What an asshole. It's not all this kind of stuff. But a lot of people focus on the processes they have in place for their business to deal with when things go well. Okay, the job went perfect. How do I send them my 5-star review link? How do I this, that? Oh, how do I collect payment? What about my terminals? You're thinking about all the parts of the business that go well, but not about the parts of the business that you may have some hiccups. And for us, like we have 1,300 plus 5-star reviews, which is a huge feat for shops. I know that
Yeah.
those people, they've got like, 130 reviews, and it's a mix of 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, stuff like that. We've got 1,300 plus 5-star reviews. But that doesn't mean we haven't gotten 2-star reviews. Those happen. Sometimes we overlook things. We hired one guy, he was in training. I don't know what his problem was, but every single car he forgot to do the trunk. And we literally have printed cards that when new trainees are in place, they have to go through the cards and okay, so the first one is mats. And then what we do with the mats is we bag them and they go in the trunk. The trunk is the next thing that's clean. So you clean the trunk, mats go in the bag, they go in the trunk. That way more mats can go on the wall racks. We can spray them down, yada, yada. There's a process. He kept forgetting to clean the trunks. I have no idea why. So people would come back and they wouldn't realize right away. And so we were getting some, 3-star reviews. I would have given it 5, but they completely forgot my trunk. Stuff like that, right? So we would reach out to those customers, come back ASAP, and it's not going to be a scenario you have to wait around. You're top of the line the minute you get here. You don't need an appointment. I don't even care what day you come. We're open Monday to Saturday. Just come in. They show up no matter when it happens. They come in, we have red sheets, and we mark down a few things that went wrong. What did we miss? What did we this? Who was the tech that was working on your job? So on and so forth. And we instantly create a fire. I know a lot of people don't want fires in their business. That's the worst thing, right? Now, I don't want to deal with any problems, no headaches, no nothing. We create a fire. We start, oh, William forgot the trunk again. Joseph, Paul, da da da, this car, top of the line, priority. We're dealing with this right now. We let everybody know there was an issue. And the reason for that, we create this fire, this sense of urgency, because nobody wants that. Shit, man, I'm never forgetting another trunk again. That shit's embarrassing. Most of the time, people try and keep it hush hush. Oh, no problem. Yeah, we can fix. I'll fix that for you right now. Da 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 da. Get them gone out the door. But if the customer hasn't felt like we've taken massive action to deal with their problem, that 3-star stays a 3-star. It becomes a 5-star when we create that fire. When I tell them things like, you don't need an appointment, I don't care what day you come in. Whenever it's convenient for you, we'll drop everything and deal with it right away. That customer feels like, wow, they genuinely just missed this. This isn't their regular practice, because who would want to do that? Who wants to just stop the middle of their day to deal with something like that? Nobody.
No way.
So it instantly tells them like, hey, this was a genuine mistake
Mm.
and we are willing to fix it. No questions asked. Boom, they come in, and this goes for anything, whatever it is.
Do people hear? Like, that's what I think is awesome. I just imagine the people sitting in the waiting room
Oh yeah.
and them hearing,
Yep.
like,
And they're
wait,
like,
what?
holy shit.
Like,
Oh yeah, because it gets loud. Yeah, yeah. Whoever takes the comeback when they come in, they yell, they're screaming through the whole thing. People hear, absolutely. They're waiting in the area. Our front desk though, they usually say like, oh, sorry, we had a customer come back for something. We'll mention what it was. Like we forgot to do the trunk, but we're making it right. Stuff like that. Because people know
I think
business.
you'd get some respect, yeah? You'd get
Yeah,
like a,
big time.
okay,
Yeah, because it's
wow.
not being perfect every time.
Yeah. It's just handling the problems.
Correcting
Yeah.
what exactly. So same thing, those 3-stars, they're the ones that turn to a 5-star and they leave their stuff there, but then they post at the top, they'll say star update. And then they say, I went back, got my trunk fully cleaned, it was amazing, da da da. Those are actually, in my opinion, 10-star reviews. Because
The
even, go ahead.
problem, right? I just kind of start thinking that somebody listening is going to go, okay, so if I have a customer that has an
Yeah.
issue, then when they pull up, I'm going to start screaming at my team member.
Yeah, no. There's a way to handle this, 100%. That's a very good point. Is that, and that's part of what I wanted to talk about, was that people don't have a process in place. And so they're reactionary and they haven't thought about the kind of outcome that they want. And so you have to have a process in place. You have to have a plan. This stuff is going to happen. If you're just starting out, trust me, this is going to happen. If you're deep in the game, think about the process that you have in place right now. And it's probably, you don't really have one. We just kind of deal with it as it happens. Well, if you're just doing things by happen chance, you're literally leaving the fate of your company to chance because you're not planning for those things. Just as much as you should plan for your marketing, and you shouldn't leave that to chance. You should plan for, the sponsorships you're going to do. You should plan for, charity events, or we're going to have an auto show event, or a, cars and coffee thing, or whatever you're going to do. The attention you're giving that side of your business is the same attention you should give when things go wrong. And that's a big one, is the comebacks, because you want to reduce the comebacks. A lot of people don't even know how many they had in a year. If you're not tracking this stuff, how would you know? So us in OrbisX, you can set up custom tags. So we have a tag called comeback. If someone came back, we tagged them. If we resolved it, we have another one, resolved comeback. Very simple. We can then go run reports on how many comebacks did we have between X date and X date? How many did we resolve between X date and X date? Oh shit, last year we had 25 outstanding. Call those customers up. Hey, it's been a year since you came back. You know, I see that there was an issue on your file. It was never dealt with. What can we do? We want you to come back. I'm sure you're still driving. You taking the bus now, or are you driving? Oh, you're driving? Cool. What kind of car you have now? You know, just go into the conversation naturally, get them to come back. But that's the process we've established at Auto World. And that's what I encourage everybody to do, is establish a process to deal with these comebacks. When the customer comes, don't just start screaming, da, 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 da. Nothing like that. Absolutely. Best thing to do is first, quick conversation with the customer. Definitely do an intake inspection as well. So for us, secondary visits, that's another quick problem, is that people, oh, I just saw this car, you know, 2 weeks ago. I don't have to do an intake. Our staff do intakes every time the vehicle comes in, because a lot of shit can happen in 24 hours, for sure, with a vehicle. So we do intakes every single time. If it's not done, that's a problem. And if that customer comes back and says, oh, you know, there was a ding on the side of my door, if we didn't do an intake, we have to assume that we did it. You know, so part of our process to avoid comebacks or to deal with them is the intake process. That's one part of it. The other part, talk with the customer, everything like that, and then say, I'm about to go make this a priority in the shop right now. That's when you go in and you start saying, guys, we have a comeback, stop what you're doing, stop this, that, da, 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 da. Single out some people, you, I need this right now, done, customers waiting on site, let's go, start putting some hustle in the guys, some fire, get it done, dealt with. And the other part of that is you have to have that conversation with the customer when they're done. Have we resolved all your issues today? Is there anything outstanding? Okay, no, everything's perfect. That's fantastic. Now, I know you had left us a review. You're welcome to leave it as is if you want, but if you feel that we've turned things around today, we made things a 5-star experience for you, it would really mean the world to us if you could update that for other customers. Simple. That's the process in a nutshell, you know? But take ownership, put some fire under your guys, 100%, track them in a system like OrbisX, and make better decisions. That's that. There
Yeah.
you go.
Good one.
See? And that's
Yeah.
the Jamison talking. Fantastic. But no, good stuff, guys. Yeah, this is good. And yeah, I'm excited to get some feedback on this. So maybe we should do something here. Maybe we should give something away.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
You got to give away that hat, is what you need to
In a
do.
couple of weeks, I knew it. I was like, I almost made it through the episode, and you didn't say anything about the hat. Now he's
Thunder up, baby. Thunder up. I can't be wearing that Miami Heat crap. What's going on here?
fair enough, fair enough. But I was so close to the end. I should have just done the outro. That's what should have
Ah, I
happened.
mean, if you would
I
have,
was in the safe
you'd
zone.
have said goodbye, you'd have been golden. You'd have been golden.
Anyways,
Tony.
guys, nice to see you. Cheers.
Well,
But yeah, you know what? I actually have a really awesome book that I'm nearly finished. And here's what we'll do. I'm almost finished this new book that I got. It's an awesome business book, and I think it'll benefit some members. So comment down the process you thought of how to deal with some comeback stuff in the group about this, and I will sign the book and I'll send it to you. That's what we'll do. There we go. And then
oh,
yeah, it's a good one. Maybe it'll be accompanied with some maple syrup. And after that comment, I know that George Hunt's going to be comment like 10 times under different accounts. He loves maple syrup, that guy. But anyways, good stuff, guys. Listen, thanks, Marshall, once again, and yeah, we'll dive more in, because Marshall has some interesting stuff to talk about with the product development side that's going on at HyperClean. So we'll tackle that next week, absolutely. And it'll tie into my tip for next week, which I've already pre-planned, because usually I have a bouquet and I've been dosing them out one at a time recently. So, but anyways, man, appreciate you as always. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.